Men, if you don't want kids, then get a vasectomy and wear protection. You can't trust every woman you meet. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lives on Reddit. Don't forget to subscribe to be a for lifer. Maybe I'm judgmental, but oh well. I've been reading a ton of stories on Reddit that men meet a woman and they agree that they don't want kids, and then something happens and the woman gets pregnant and they freak out over becoming parents. Now disclaimer, I don't agree with women who lie about being on birth control to trap men. However, I think if men know they absolutely don't want children, then they should get a vasectomy. Take your destiny into your own hands and get the snip. Birth control fails too, so use protection. I don't know why there's so many stories about this. Use protection until you can get the vasectomy. It's that simple. I promise you child support feels worse than wearing protection. Rant over. I can't even count how many times I decided against being intimate when I didn't have protection and didn't have any knowledge of whether or not my partner was on birth control. It just wasn't worth the risk to me, no matter if she said she was on birth control, and don't worry. Intimacy is fun, but not so much that I want that risk. I then get comments over the years from people who are having problems with their children, with them saying, "You're so lucky you don't have kids." As if it was a freaking accident. I take the time to tell them, you think not having kids was down to luck or an accident or fate? I spent the time to think about whether or not I wanted kids, and then when I decided I didn't, I executed on that plan. And that plan included, don't give up your own reproductive destiny to someone else. That was not luck, that was planning. Equal responsibility for birth control. Women shouldn't be the only ones required to supply birth control anyway. If you don't want kids, then you should be actively working to prevent having them. If you aren't actively working to prevent pregnancy, then you are trying to become a parent. Completely agree with this. It takes two to make a baby, so it should take two to make sure one doesn't happen. My personal rule is always double protection. I'll be on birth control and he has to wear protection if he hasn't gotten a vasectomy, or it's a no-go. Yep, one of my cousins always said from a young age that he never wanted to have kids. He's 35 now and has been quite a player and has been through countless relationships and flings, but he had made it all the way until now without ever getting anyone pregnant. But a while back, he was dating a woman who claimed that she was infertile, and I guess he took her word for it. And yeah, you can guess how that ended. He's going to be a dad now. Like, he definitely should have gotten a vasectomy. By the time guys are in their mid-30s, I think most doctors aren't super hesitant to do it. But I could be wrong. Nah, my wife and I are child-free. I'm 34 and all the doctor said was, "You know this is permanent, right?" Which I replied, "Yep. Now I have an appointment to get snipped this Friday." Mine is today! Good luck, King. Snip, let us know how it went. So, did you ever go to scoot off a bar stool and one of your cherries rolled under your thigh? It hurts less than that, but also I'm still in the waiting room waiting for my lift to get here to take me home, and neither medication 1 nor medication 2 has worn off yet. We'll update later, probably gonna order a pizza when I get home and try to find somewhere I can marathon Modern Marvels. If I can't find that, how it's made, we'll have to do. Overall, going to the dentist for a filling and a cleaning is worse, but like I said, I just walked out of the room like 10 minutes ago. I was on a date with a guy and he told me about finding his ex poking holes in his protection. She told him that she knew he changed his mind when she got pregnant. It literally never occurred to her that he probably would not. They had a 6-hour discussion about trust and never spoke to each other again. I asked him why he didn't get a vasectomy. He said he might change his mind in the future and wanted to leave his options open. I sometimes wonder if he ever had his mind changed for him when his protection failed. Meanwhile, I'm sterilized and uterus free. Vasectomy is the best form of protection for a guy. I read so many stories about poked protection, it is terrifying. Not just that, but they also have a relatively high failure rate. They also require the user to do something correctly. That's asking a lot. Get snipped. Easiest thing I've ever done. I got snipped and it was surprisingly difficult for me to get it done, but I persevered. Took years for it to happen, about 8 years. The usual reasons that doctors give to young people. But I wanted my partner to be safe and not have to take hormones, though she did not just as birth control, but because of endometriosis related treatment. That being said, as soon as I got snipped, she left because she was offered something greater in another country and didn't take me along. So now my birth control method seems to be that I am viciously unattractive, but at least there's no risk to contaminate the gene pool with my repulsive genes. At the very least, I'm still certain my only children will be hairy and say "Meow." I'm a single woman who wants to be sterilized, but that's not easy, even at 43. I've been told that if I had a husband to sign off on it, then maybe. But the thing that bothers me the most is how often people have told me to find a man and have him get a vasectomy. Like I should foist my own personal responsibility onto someone else. I shouldn't take my destiny in my own hands and do what's right for me. What a thing to put on my dating profile. Must be willing to have surgery so I don't have to. It's awful. I wish more men and men's groups talked about how important it is to use protection for their own reproductive health. So many people these days assume as soon as you are in a committed relationship that protection isn't needed anymore. No, everyone knows how babies are made, and you need to prevent swimmers from going into the canal. Women can control their uterus and men can control their swimmers. I have no idea why men don't want to control where their swimmers go if they don't want a child. I have an IUD and we use protection 100% of the time. And yes, our intimacy life is amazing and exciting even after years. Anytime I mention protection in the intimacy subreddits, I get downvoted. I've seen it happen in life too many times, alongside with dads who have abandoned their 18-year-old partner and baby when they realize having a baby is not all fun and giggles, and others who get angry and bitter when they realize just what they're now going to miss out on and have given up forever for silly notions like, it's different when it's your own. It's not. Or that the young guy who loves grass and gaming with his buddies is so looking forward to not seeing his mates and having any free time. Men have a responsibility to protect themselves as well. Everyone should be in full control of their reproductive choices. Just got an awkward phone call from a fertility center. I had a vasectomy last year and got a swimmer's test afterwards, which was all clear. Oop, oop. I decided to do a second test recently to double check and make sure there was no recanalization, which is more likely in the first year. A week after submitting my sample, I got a phone call and this lovely nurse was asking me, "Do you have a moment to talk? Are you sitting down?" Kind of stuff. I was really terrified. She informed me in a very gentle voice, very caring, sensitive voice. "I'm so sorry, sir, but there were no swimmers present in your sample." Turns out she assumed that my partner and I were trying to have a kid and were checking my swimmer's level to see if I was the problem. She was incredibly relieved and we had a good laugh about it. The poor woman was probably worrying about the phone call for ages. She probably gets a lot of vitriol from people who are trying to have kids when she gives such news. I cannot imagine her job as a pleasant one. Can you imagine how she's probably screamed at and blamed and guilted by people trying to have kids who are infertile? Oof. Yeah, I have a similar job, but I'm not in the front lines like she is. I verify insurance benefits for radiology appointments, and when I call patients, I'm usually breaking bad news to them by telling them their insurance won't cover their appointments, and they'd have to pay thousands of dollars out of pocket. Calling during a pandemic where more people are losing their jobs and therefore are losing their insurance, I have made patients cry. It's not exactly a fun thing to do. I'd imagine the nurse had to go through that sort of guilt as well. My mom is going through the process of getting on the lung transplant waiting list, and to get on requires a bunch of tests. She's finished most of it by now, but there was honestly like a solid month where she was just sobbing with the insurance company, trying to understand why tests that the doctor said she needed weren't covered, or why she had to prove that the tests were required even though it was ordered by the doctor. I don't exactly know all the details, but I remember feeling almost just as bad for the insurance representative who was just breaking bad news to my mom and had to do their best to help my mom out while she sobbed to them. I know that wasn't an easy situation for people at work to deal with. I'm sorry a big part of your job is dealing with and giving people bad news. It can't be easy. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't leave. Subscribe. Be a for lifer. Ooh, ooh.